Welcome to today's Deep Dive Credit Podcast, presented by Elite Credit Solutions in Tampa, Florida. We are an affordable, attorney-assisted credit repair and restoration business, serving the entire U.S. Each podcast, we aim to present various credit topics that are most important in today's evolving life and in building your successful future. Now, let's begin today's special event.
What happened, who was behind this thing, what precious personal data was exposed, and, honestly, most importantly, the concrete long-term steps you can take to protect yourself in this, well, increasingly vulnerable digital world. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the attack itself, maybe let's quickly reestablish TransUnion's place in our financial lives. I mean, most of us recognize the name,
Sure.
but maybe not the full, immense scope of what they actually do.
Right. So TransUnion, along with Experian and Equifax, they form the big three consumer credit reporting agencies. It's huge. They are constantly collecting vast amounts of financial information on nearly every U.S. consumer with an active credit history.
Right. Pretty much everyone who uses credit.
Exactly. And all that data they gather gets compiled into individual credit reports. Lenders, landlords, sometimes even employers, insurance companies. They scrutinize these reports. They use them to assess your creditworthiness, the associated risk.
And your FICO score.
Yeah.
That three-digit number everyone obsesses over.
Yes, that crucial number is largely determined by algorithms applied to the information in your TransUnion file, and the others too, of course. So they really are custodians of our most sensitive financial identities. It's critical data.
Okay, so they hold the keys to the kingdom, financially speaking. Now, about this breach, what actually happened?
Well, what's fascinating here, and maybe a bit scary, is how this attack wasn't like a direct assault on TransUnion's main vault of credit data. No, instead, it exploited a vulnerability in a third-party application. But it still managed to cause such widespread impact.
A third-party app. So not TransUnion's own core systems.
Precisely. It was an application used by TransUnion's U.S. consumer support operations. And that distinction is really critical here. This isn't just a TransUnion issue. It highlights a fundamental shift in how these bad actors approach large organizations.
How so?
Well, they're not solely, battering down the main gate anymore. They're meticulously finding the weakest link in the whole chain of services a company relies on.
Ah, the supply chain vulnerability.
Exactly. So the incident itself was a cyber attack targeting that vulnerability in the third-party app. The attack itself occurred on July 28, 2025. TransUnion's security teams actually discovered it pretty quickly, just 2 days later on July 30th.
That's fairly fast detection.
It is. But the company didn't officially confirm the breach until August 28th, 2025. There's always that investigation period.
Right. And the scope. I remember seeing some wild numbers initially.
You did, yeah. You might have heard some initial, frankly, alarming reports that overstated the victims, maybe as high as 44 million. That was incorrect.
Okay.
According to the official filings with state attorneys general, the confirmed figure stands at approximately 4.4 million U.S. consumers, to be exact. 4,461,511 individuals.
Still a huge number.
Absolutely. And a truly crucial detail TransUnion explicitly stated is that the breach did not involve our core credit database or include credit reports.
Okay, that's some relief.
It is some relief, yes, but as we'll get into, it definitely doesn't mean you're totally in the clear if you were affected.
So essentially, TransUnion, despite all its resources and security around its core data, is kind of only as strong as its weakest vendor link. That feels, well, terrifying for consumer data, doesn't it?
It absolutely is, and it really highlights the systemic vulnerability in our interconnected digital world. We rely on so many different services talking to each other.
So who was this weak link, or I guess more accurately, who was the culprit exploiting it?
Well, security researchers have tied this specific intrusion to a pretty well-known hacker collective called Shiny Hunters.
Shiny Hunters. I've heard that name.
Yeah, they have a distinctive pattern. They're believed to be behind several recent campaigns targeting Salesforce integrations and third-party applications, often at multiple Fortune 500 companies.
Salesforce integrations. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. Think of Salesforce as this widely used, very powerful system for managing customer relationships, support, sales, all that. Many big companies integrate other apps with it.
Okay.
Now, if one of those third-party apps that connects to Salesforce has a weak spot, maybe an outdated plugin, maybe a misconfigured setting, an API issue, it can become a kind of backdoor. This means the bad actors might gain access not just to that specific app, but to the data flowing through it, even if Salesforce itself or TransUnion's core systems remain secure.
Wow. So they found an indirect route.
Exactly. It's a highly sophisticated way of bypassing direct defenses. Find the side entrance.
That makes perfect sense, and yeah, frankly, it's unsettling. So, okay, it wasn't their core credit database, but that doesn't mean the exposed data wasn't vital. And here's where it gets really interesting and critically important for you listening to understand. Because while those core credit reports were safe, other vital information was very much not. What exactly did these shiny hunters get their hands on?
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the compromise of Social Security numbers creates a prolonged and deeply serious risk for identity theft. This goes far beyond the immediate aftermath of the breach itself. The core personal data exposed included names, dates of birth, and, critically, Social Security numbers.
The big one.
The big one. Now, in some cases, additional contact info is also taken, things like phone numbers, physical addresses, email accounts, and even details from past support tickets you might have opened with TransUnion's customer service.
The port tickets. Wow, that's specific.
It is. But the exposure of Social Security numbers particularly, that's the grave long-term concern.
Why is that so much worse, even if the credit report itself wasn't touched this time?
Because unlike, say, a credit card number that you can cancel and replace fairly easily,
Right.
your Social Security number is essentially permanent. It's the master key to your financial existence in so many ways. Even if your credit report wasn't directly compromised in this specific incident, having your SSN out there in the hands of bad actors makes you a prime target for identity theft for years, maybe decades.
Decades? Really?
Potentially. They can use it to try and open new lines of credit, file fraudulent tax returns, claim government benefits in your name, or they can combine it with other publicly available information, stuff from data brokers, social media, to create an even more potent and convincing fake identity profile.
That's terrifying.
It is. And the average time it takes victims to resolve identity theft cases linked to SSN exposure, it can be months, sometimes even years. And the emotional and financial toll is significant.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
This is precisely why immediate and ongoing vigilance is just absolutely essential.
That truly is a sobering thought. That potential for indefinite long-term impact from an exposed Social Security number. It means this isn't a fix-it-and-forget-it kind of situation at all.
Not at all.
So that brings us right to the most practical questions for our listeners. How can you figure out if your data was actually part of this specific breach? And what immediate steps should you be taking, like right now?
Okay, good questions. First off, TransUnion has indeed started sending letters to the affected individuals. So keep a very close eye on your physical mail. Don't just toss things that look official.
Check the mail. Got it. But waiting for a letter feels passive.
Absolutely. And you don't have to wait. You can directly check your status and get immediate assistance by calling TransUnion's dedicated fraud assistance line. That number is 800-516-4700. Just be aware their lines operate Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, 800-516-4700, business hours ET. Good to know. What else?
Beyond that, it's always good practice, but now it's more critical than ever. Pull and review your credit reports. And not just from TransUnion, from all three major agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian.
All three. Why all three?
Because information might appear on one report before another, or errors might only show up on one. You need the full picture. And remember, you're entitled to free weekly reports from all three. You can get them easily and safely at annualcreditreport.com.
Annualcreditreport.com. Okay. Weekly checks seem like a good habit regardless.
It really is. Make it part of your regular financial hygiene. Now, for ongoing monitoring, you've got a few good options. There are paid services like MyFICO.
MyFICO, right. They focus on the FICO score itself.
Exactly, which, as we said, is the score most widely used by lenders. So those services are excellent for tracking that specific score. They also provide continuous monitoring of your accounts for errors, for fraud. They often include dark web scans looking to see if your data pops up in illicit marketplaces.
Dark web scans.
Yep.
That's important.
It is. And many offer identity theft insurance, sometimes up to $1 million with their higher tier plans. Those typically run, somewhere between $30 to $40 per month.
Okay, so that's a paid option. What about free alternatives?
Good question. There are free alternatives like Wallet Hub and Credit Karma. They allow you to check your Vantage score.
Vantage score. How does that differ from FICO?
Think of VantageScore as another legitimate credit scoring model. It was actually co-created by the three bureaus themselves. Now, lenders tend to rely on FICO more often for actual lending decisions, that's true, but VantageScore still gives you a very good, accurate sense of your overall credit profile.
So it's still useful for spotting problems.
Absolutely. It's an excellent way to spot unusual activity or major shifts in your credit without any cost.
Good to have options.
And importantly, remember that TransUnion itself is offering affected customers 2 years of free access to its own credit monitoring service called My True Identity.
Right. Their remedy.
Yes. If you were impacted by this breach, this is a valuable resource they're providing. You should absolutely take advantage of it. It's their direct response to help mitigate your risk.
Okay, so we've covered the immediate cleanup, checking if you're affected, starting monitoring. That's crucial. But as you highlighted, that SSN compromise means this isn't just a short-term fix. How do we shift from simply reacting to these breaches, because let's face it, they seem to keep happening, to truly building a stronger fortress around our digital identities for the long haul? What does this all mean for taking decisive control of your personal security moving forward?
Right. And this brings us to perhaps the most crucial long-term protection measure, especially when Social Security numbers are compromised. And that is placing a credit freeze.
A credit freeze. I've heard about this, but it sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Intimidating.
It sounds more intimidating than it is, honestly. And it's arguably the single most effective tool you have available. What it does basically is prevent outside companies, like lenders, from accessing your credit information file without your explicit permission.
So it just locks it down.
Pretty much. It makes it incredibly difficult, almost impossible, for identity thieves to open new credit accounts, credit cards, mortgages, even utility services in your name, because the lender can't pull your report to approve the application.
Okay, that sounds powerful. Is it hard to set up? Expensive?
It's surprisingly simple, actually. And thanks to federal law, it is completely free to place, manage, and lift a freeze.
Free. That's good.
Yes. The key thing to remember is that you must contact each of the 3 credit agencies individually to set it up. You can't just do it once.
Okay. All 3 again.
All 3 again. For Equifax, you can visit their Consumer Services Center online or call them at 800-349-9960. For Experian, contact their Security Freeze Center online or call 888-397-3742. And for TransUnion, you visit their website or call 888-909-8872.
Okay, we'll make sure those numbers are available. What's the process like when you call or go online?
You'll need to provide your basic identifying information, name, address, birth date, your social security number, obviously, and then you'll typically create a unique PIN or password.
A PIN. Why?
That PIN is crucial. You'll use it to temporarily lift or thaw the freeze when you genuinely need to apply for new credit, say you're getting a car loan or renting a new apartment.
So it's not permanent. You can pause it.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. It offers flexibility. You thaw it when needed. The lender checks your credit, and then you can easily refreeze it once you're done.
So it's a minor inconvenience for potentially major peace of mind.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it.
That's incredibly powerful advice. I know many people hesitate thinking it'll be too complicated or lock them out when they need credit, but hearing you can pause it, that changes things.
It really should. The long-term protection it offers, especially with SSN exposure, heavily outweighs that small effort.
Okay, so credit freeze is step 1 for long-term defense.
Yeah.
Are there other layers of protection people should consider, particularly given how common these breaches are becoming?
Absolutely. Beyond credit freezes, you might also want to consider dedicated identity theft protection services. Think companies like Aura or Identity Guard.
How do those differ from, say, the basic credit monitoring TransUnion is offering, or even MyFICO?
They generally go a step further than just basic credit report monitoring. They offer a whole suite of protections. For example, they can often notify the credit bureaus on your behalf if there's an issue, help you freeze accounts, and crucially, alert you if your personal information like your SSN, email, even driver's license number is used to try and open new accounts, or if it shows up on the dark web or is found in other data breaches.
So they're more actively scanning beyond just the credit reports.
Yes, often much more broadly. Many services, like Aura, for instance, bundle things like financial fraud protection, spam call blocking, alerts for scam websites, VPNs for secure browsing, password managers, and even instant credit lock features, which are slightly different but complementary to freezes.
Okay, that sounds comprehensive. What about that insurance aspect you mentioned earlier?
Right. A significant benefit of many paid identity theft services is the insurance they typically include. This often provides up to $1 million in coverage for eligible losses related to identity theft.
What kind of losses does that cover?
It can encompass things like legal assistance fees if you need lawyers, lost wages if you have to take significant time off work to resolve the identity theft mess, and other out-of-pocket expenses incurred during recovery.
That could be incredibly valuable if the worst happens. What's the cost range for these services?
It varies, of course. For context, Aura plans might range from about $9 up to $25 per month, typically billed annually. Identity Guard offers individual plans maybe starting around $7 up to $18 a month, or family plans from $10 and $24 per month, again, usually billed annually. And both generally include that $1 million insurance component.
So options exist depending on your budget and needs.
Definitely. And finally, layered on top of all this technology and services, general vigilance remains paramount. It sounds basic, but it's crucial. Regularly reviewing your bank accounts, your credit card statements, looking for any unauthorized activity that's a non-negotiable habit.
Just keeping your eyes open.
Exactly. And always, always stay hyper alert for targeted phishing scams. Thieves will absolutely leverage stolen information like names, emails, maybe even those support ticket details.
To make their scam emails or texts look more convincing.
Precisely. They'll try to trick you into revealing even more information or clicking malicious links. Never click suspicious links. Never provide personal info in response to unsolicited requests. Trust your gut. If it feels off, it probably is.
Okay, this deep dive has truly laid bare the, well, unsettling reality that while data breaches, especially from institutions as foundational as Transunion, are incredibly disturbing, there are tangible, effective, and genuinely empowering steps you can take to mitigate your risk. It's not about feeling helpless. It's about being prepared, being proactive, and being persistent in protecting your digital life.
You know, this really raises an important question, doesn't it? How do we as individuals, but also as a society, adapt our whole approach to personal data security, especially in a world where our most critical identifiers, like an SSN, can be exposed through, well, a seemingly minor third-party application connection?
Yeah.
It really necessitates a fundamental and, frankly, ongoing shift in how we think about protecting our digital lives. This incident certainly underscores the continuing and evolving challenges of safeguarding personal data in this vast, interconnected ecosystem.
This constant battle.
It really is. And it's a stark reminder that, look, no institution, regardless of its size or security budget, is truly immune to cyber attacks. Proactive steps like credit freezes, robust monitoring, constant personal vigilance, these aren't just nice-to-haves anymore. They are increasingly essential for everyone. And because Social Security numbers were compromised in this specific breach, the risk of identity theft, unfortunately, may truly last indefinitely. That makes long-term vigilance absolutely critical. It cannot just be a temporary reaction. It needs to become part of our routine.
A powerful and, yes, necessary takeaway. This isn't just about this one breach. It's about adapting to the reality of our digital world. Thank you for walking us through all that, and thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We genuinely hope this knowledge empowers you to take control and protect yourself in this ever-evolving landscape of digital security. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Deep Dive Credit Podcast has been presented to you by Elite Credit Solutions. We offer affordable, attorney-assisted credit repair and restoration services. If we can ever help you or someone you know to achieve your future goals, please give us a call. We can be reached at 813-317-6776. Thank you again. We hope you enjoyed today's special event.